Has the Texas 8-4 era finally come to an end at Kyle Field and College Station for 2025? Okay, Aggies, that was a low blow. That's on me. But listen, the joke writes itself. For years in the SEC, Texas A&M has been the most prolific 8-4 roster. And it doesn't matter the type of talent you bring in, who you hire as a head coach. The expectations are death taxes 8-4 at Kyle Field. But I do feel really confident about this offense going into year 2 underneath Colin Klein. I feel really good about a defense headlined by Mike Elko. And the way the schedule bodes out, there are a lot of games that could be coin flips and lead to A&M actually getting to double-digit victories and punching their ticket to the college football playoff. I know, it's crazy. I hate the Aggies apparently, but I believe in them this year, which is why for them to make it to the dozen dance, these 3 bold predictions have to come true. So what's going on, SEC Unfiltered? It's Cole Thompson here, 12th man. Welcome on into the show. Like the video, hit the ring notification, and of course, subscribe to the channel because we talk about your Aggies and we talk college football daily. Download the podcast version of the show wherever you get your podcast listening systems. Follow us on socials, link in the description, and check out all of our great work found at secunfiltered.com. And as always, we're proudly fueled by our friends over at FANDUEL. Go to FANDUEL.com/SECU. Join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. So if you want to shut me up for good and say A&M is winning the national title for the first time since 1939, by all means, throw down some money. Just go to FANDUEL.com/SECU. Now, these are bold predictions, which means they're out of left field. So when I'm right, you come back here and say, Cole Thompson said it first. And when I'm wrong, remember, it was a bold prediction. It wasn't supposed to come true anyways. But bold prediction number 1. I think that Texas A&M doesn't lead the SEC in rushing yards this year. I think they lead all of college football. I am very high on this running back room. And after hearing Mike Elko talk about the unique dynamics of what this tailback tandem is going to be with a healthy Lavian Moss, with a healthy Amari Daniels, with Ruben Owens back at full speed, and EJ Smith thrown into the mix, it's very hard for me not to believe that this is going to be one of the more easy tandems to buy stock into. Expectations are through the roof in the ground game, and well, they should be for a multitude of reasons. Number 1, everyone's already back from the offense from a season ago. And the offense that started off 7-1 and had a running back that was leading the SEC in rushing yards, they're all back. The other thing is your offense coordinator is back. Colin Klein loves to run the football. And now he's got 4 different dudes who each provide a certain asset, whether it be third and short, first down, and you got to go ahead and set the tone. A game changer that can add value as a pass catcher in the backfield, on swing patterns, on pitches, on option plays. You have that. So he now has an identity on the offense and players that are going to work for this offense. And you also have to throw in the other factor of it all. Marcel Reed is your starting quarterback. And Reed, I think, can absolutely hit the home run ball. And we have some questions when it comes to Reed, and we'll address them in a minute. But he also has the mobility factor. The LSU game was a turning point, I think, for Texas A&M when it came to the quarterback role. Because Connor Wigman wasn't getting the job done. You had seen Marcel Reed have to be a stopgap starter in the game against Florida. And then you turn to him and say, 10, you got to be perfect. And on the ground he was. Single-handedly set the tone in the second half against the Tigers and won that football game at Kyle Field. That was Marcel Reed. And I'm not going to listen to anybody else argue against that. That was straight up him doing his job. He's a mobile quarterback. He's a guy that can beat you with his legs. He's a guy that can beat you behind the line of scrimmage, make you tired, and then be able to keep plays alive by moving forward. That is what you got at 10 at quarterback. And again, he's got the arm strength. We know that. But you're throwing in the mobility, the dual threatness, and the running back tandem of a Lavian Moss, of a Ruben Owens, of an Amari Daniels, of an EJ Smith. Those 5 are all toting the rock. Yeah, Army's got a damn good group. And I'm not saying that Army and our military schools do not deserve some appreciation. But the number 2 team last year was New Mexico at 253 yards per game. I think A&M outbeats them by at least 25 yards. And again, I think that they could easily hold their own against Army. That week 3 matchup against Notre Dame is, for my money, going to be the best running back battle in college football in 2025. Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love versus Ruben Owens and Lavian Moss. Sign me up. Front row seat. I cannot wait to watch that bully ball. I can't. But you throw in the mobility of Marcel Reed, it's very hard for me to not believe that this is going to be the most prolific rushing attack in the SEC. And you throw in what you got in Lavian Moss fully healthy, you throw in a Ruben Owens, you throw in an Amari Daniels, you add in a little bit of that spark with EJ Smith. He's the son of Emmett, so he's got at least some running back consistency. It's going to be a special year out in College Station on the ground. I think they average over 285 yards per game. I think they lead college football in rushing. So that's bold prediction number 1. Bold prediction number 2, I think you're going to have 3 700-yard receivers. I know that Marcel Reed can hit the home run ball. I am not doubting him at all when it comes to that. But what I want to see, can he hit the singles and the doubles? Because there were times last year where you remember, hey, throw it 50 yards down the field. Noah Thomas is there. You're going to have a big-time play from one of your other guys on the outside. You'll make it work. The 25-yard post pattern, you're fine. Now hit the 7-yard slant. Be confident enough when you're going up against Texas or going up against Mississippi State to not have to worry about throwing into double coverage. Find your target and constantly move the sticks. Partially, you can say that was on Marcel Reed, not really understanding how to play the quarterback position. And partially, you can blame that on the wide receivers. Not the best wide receiver room in the country last season. Noah Thomas, very good. Very good. He's going to do great things, I think, out in Athens, GA. But you still had your question marks surrounding them. I don't think you do anymore. From a speed element, you brought in Mario Craver from Mississippi State. Will Lee talked about it at SEC Media Days. The toughest wide receiver we went up against was Mario Craver because you can't teach speed. Well, now you don't have to go up against him because he's on your team. He's standing next to you when you're on the sidelines. Then he's taking the field when you don't have to. You brought in Casey Concepcion. From a route running standpoint, from an identity standpoint, I don't think that there are 5 receivers better than Casey Concepcion going into the season. And let's say that we see the version that took names out in Raleigh, North Carolina in 2023. The one that made him a household figure in the ACC and nearly was the best player at the position in the conference. Won ACC Freshman of the Year. What if that's the version that we get on the outside? And now he's making plays left and right, and he feels really confident in himself. That's a dude that you want to connect with on the 12-yard out pattern. That's a dude that you're going to be able to find 15 yards downfield on the comeback, and he's going to make a play in space. That's what you're getting with the Casey Concepcion. And don't forget about Terry Bussey. Terry Bussey, from everyone that I've spoken to, making the transition permanently to the offensive side and focusing in on wide receiver may end up being the biggest blessing in disguise for Texas A&M. Not for Bussey, because Bussey, I think, could be a two-way player and a really solid one. But for A&M, it gives you finally that option to where you can trust in the passing attack. Then you also got to throw in Isaiah Williams' speed. Jonah Wilson comes on in from the University of Houston. You also have Kayshawn Johnson and Jerome Miles coming on in. So there's a lot to like about what Texas A&M's passing attack is going to be. You add all together, I think you can have one guy be your deep threat, one guy be your intermediate threat, and one guy be your short gain that is going to boot, scoot, and boogie and make juke and jives in the open field. Defenders are going to miss them left and right. You're going to have 3 receivers that finish with at least 700 receiving yards. Now, will you have one finish with 1,000? I don't know. It would be very shocking because Texas A&M has not had a 1,000-yard receiver in ages. Mike Evans, I think it was the last one, if I'm not mistaken. It has been a hot minute since we have seen the 1K attached to a name out in College Station. But 3 guys who all can act as number ones on certain games. Maybe you need that speed vertical threat when you face off against Florida. Maybe you need just to move the sticks when you face off against Mississippi State. Maybe you need the short to intermediate game working against Texas. And that's where you get a Terry Bussey making plays, or a Casey Concepcion making plays, or a Mario Craver taking the tops off of defenses. You can do those things to where, hey, we're in a really, really, really good spot with all 3 of our system wide receivers. And you also got to throw in the tight end play. I think that Amari Niblack is going to be better than advertised. And I think that Thor coming on in another year in the system, that's going to do wonders. But that's bold prediction number 2, 3 700-yard receivers. Bold prediction number 3, and I don't want to go ahead and say this is that bold, so I'm going to do 2 real fast as honorable mentions. Number 1, I think that you win one of the matchups against Notre Dame or Texas. I don't know which one. I'm leaning right now Notre Dame. I think early on in that season, having that bye week to prepare after playing Miami while A&M is still playing is actually going to hinder Notre Dame's success for a new quarterback in CJ Carr. And then the other one is, I think that Torian York is going to win the Butkus Award. It's really far-fetched, but he is the most underappreciated player in all of college football, specifically in the SEC. Over 80 tackles last year, 4 pass breakups, and interception, and he didn't even get first-team All-SEC accolades. He is a thumper. He does everything that you want. I think that it's him and Ant Hill really fighting for that award. The winner of the Lone Star Showdown may actually end up taking home the title on that. But bold prediction number 3, and you're going to say it's not bold enough, but you know what? This is what Texas A&M is known for doing, so they're not going to do it this year. Texas A&M does not lose a home game. Kyle Field is rocking and rolling. Kyle Field is ravenous. You feel the intensity as the 12th man is bellowing out the war hymn going into the start of the game, and it sets the tone. Why is that important? Because yes, do you have road games against Notre Dame and LSU and Texas? You do. And that might be enough to where you say you go 9-3. But you're in this category of 4 or 5 teams that if you said, hey, they finished 5th or they finished 4th in the SEC and they're 10-2 and they're in the college football playoff, A&M falls in line. And they're facing off against several of those teams at home this year. Florida, South Carolina, Auburn, all 4 of them. And all 4 of them may have quarterbacks that they believe have higher upside than Marcel Reed. Jackson Arnold leaves Oklahoma, goes on down to the Plains of Auburn. A better fitting offense for his skill set. But great wide receiver play. Cam Coleman, Eric Singleton. You also have Perry Thompson. You also have, in my opinion, a better offensive line than people are giving credit for. So you throw that in. I think that is going to be a massive win for the Tigers. But you don't lose that game at home. You're the one that sets the tone behind your offensive line that might be good enough to win the Joe Moore Award. You play South Carolina at the end of the year. South Carolina last season felt like that was their turning point. What if this is Texas A&M's turning point? They win games against Arkansas, and they win against Missouri, and they win against Mississippi State. But they can't lose another game because they know that this will ruin their shot at the college football playoff. But hell, we win this matchup against South Carolina, we're back in business. We watch as Lenore Sellers and Rocket Sanders blasted on off at Willie B. Well, now you're the one blasting on off at home with Lavian Moss and Marcel Reed, and that's the turning point. And then maybe we throw in one more game, and it's the most important one, Florida. Because Florida has all the intangibles that you want to be a team that can go to the college football playoff. Their schedule sucks, but from a roster standpoint, exceptional defense. Really solid players in the back end. Good wide receiver play. Unproven in some areas, but good wide receiver play. Arguably the best running back nobody is talking about in Jaden Baugh. And you have a quarterback in TJ Lagway who may be the most underappreciated in college football going into the year and might win the Heisman Trophy. What if you win that game? And what if you just dismantle Florida the way that you did when you were in the swamp last year? You win those matchups. Then you don't find a way to shoot yourself in the foot against Utah State or UTSA or Samford. And you go into that matchup against Texas with an opportunity to punch your ticket to Atlanta and the college football playoff. I didn't say you were going to lose a game. I do think that you will drop a game on the road. Death Valley is going to be challenging. It's a place you don't win ever. I think Texas is going to be challenging. It's the Lone Star Showdown. Missouri, we have no idea what they can be, so that might be a game. The trap game of all trap games to me, first time since the start of the Southwest Classic, really since 2012. You're going back to Fayetteville. What if that's trap game? You still have the game against Notre Dame. So again, I said you're going to win one of those two, but maybe that one. You're going to lose a game. But you're not going to do it at home, and you're not going to do it to inferior competition. You will handle business against Mississippi State. You will handle business against Florida, handle business against South Carolina, handle business against UTSA, Utah State, and Auburn as well. But those are my 3 bold predictions, and I threw in 2 extra ones because of A&M fans. I don't really hate you. Torian York wins the Butkus Award. You have a win over Notre Dame / Texas. You go undefeated at home behind the top offensive line in the SEC. You lead the country in rushing, and Marcel Reed finds a way to have 3 700-yard receivers. But let me know in the comment section down below, where did I miss? Who was I too high on? Where was I too low? Like the video, hit subscribe, and make sure you're following us on all social channels at Mr. Cole Thompson, at SEC Unfiltered. Check out all of our great work found at secunfiltered.com. And as always, go to FANDUEL.com/SECU to join in the madness today. Until next time, folks, I am Cole Thompson. Gig 'em Nation. Yeah, I know. You think that I hate you, but I do think that this might be a year where we're finally ending the 8-4 jokes. Bye.